Good morning. Welcome to Coffee and Craps with John from Pro Craps here on the Casino Gaming TV channel. First episode we've done, or we'll be doing from the new channel. Pretty exciting stuff. Jeff, of course, we tried last night to go live with Jeff's Craps Chat show. We had a trouble with the stream, but it looks like we're okay here and things are kind of rolling. I'm going to check the YouTube channel. Yeah, we're live. Just make sure we're going. So it's going to be a weird transition. I'm putting out all the notices that I can to get folks over here from the regular YouTube channel. So it's kind of a light crew this morning. We've got about 12, 13 people here right now. So I assume we'll get some more folks to trickle in here as we go today. And hell, if it's not, then it'll just be the 10 of us and we'll have a good old time. Anyway, so with that said, announcements time. Let's, again, reiterate the same old thing. DiceCon, coming June 19th to the 21st in Vegas. Jeremy Color Up Club is putting the event on for a bunch of us to get out there and kind of hang out for 3 days. It's going to be fantastic. Get to his website, which I've linked there, to get your tickets for the events. He's actually got Casino Quest rented out for 2 days. So we got 2 days at Casino Quest where we're going to get to do like a meet and greet, play with them. I think I'm going to deal some when we get there. It's going to be kind of fun. So that's worth the price of admission in itself. It's actually cheaper to buy the whole convention than it is to buy 1 hour at Casino Quest. So you'll get in there and get it done for sure. The other thing we have, oops, I shouldn't be moving that, to announce is obviously our Switch over here. And how did y'all like the Char thing? I'm not sure if you know this or not, but she never played craps in her life. We taught her for a couple days. Now she's saying things like, she lives about 2 hours from us. I'm coming back and we're gonna go to the casino and play. So she's already all in on the game. I think we did a good job of calming how crazy the game can be. And you forget sometimes, because we're all good players, right? Or we think we are. We're all good players. We forget sometimes just how much there is to this game, you know? And I was watching the chats go by as I was working with her, and it's show her this, show her that, try this, try that, and you can't. You just can't because there's just too much to it. Understanding the puck, believe it or not, was a hard thing. We talked afterwards, and the puck was hard. The hardest part of it all was the math, actually. The odds on taking odds or laying odds was really, really complicated for her. And it not because she's not smart or anything, it's just that it's a lot. That's a lot of information to understand how many ways you can roll each number, and that means the odds and how much money you can put down. And I kept reminding her, like, don't worry about it. The casino will help you. Like, the dealers will tell you what the right amounts are. And for the first year, just let them tell you, right? You'll eventually go, oh, I totally get it, like how the odds work. That was the part that blew her away, was the odds. So I think if I do this again with somebody else who's new, I'd probably skip the odds. Or I'd probably just say, here's the max odds you can take and just do the max. Or here's the minimum you can take. So take 1x or 5x or whatever the max is on the number and keep it at that. Because trying to do the odds math, I think, was what a learning point for me was. I think just went too far with that. So with that said, I think that's going to be the big change that we make is going to be that. So, but other than that, it was fun. She had a great time. And like I said, when she comes back up to visit, we're going to go to the casino together and play live crap. She's going to want to watch a little bit to see a game happen with real money and then come on out herself. And luckily, we've got a $5 casino up here, so she can actually get out there and play at that $100 level that we showed her and buy in for cheap and sort of play cheap and get a feel for a live game with other people and kind of all that stuff. It's going to be pretty fun. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm glad we did it. It was a really fun couple of days. Other things to talk about, which I don't have really listed here, is Ken from Ken Knows Gambling did a strategy yesterday. He put a strategy video out late in the day, which I had a chance to watch and review, and he talked about it on Jeff's show at length last night. It's a little bit complicated at first. In theory, it's not. It's not very complicated at all. But keeping track of where you are can be complex. So I practiced it last night a little bit, and I've devised a way for me to keep myself sane so I know where I am in the rotation here. And I'll share that with you probably tonight or tomorrow night. What I'll do is, as you noticed the other day, I did a 2 a.m. little practice session. I'm gonna do more of that stuff. I'm gonna do more of just turn the camera on and roll dice and play a table. Sometimes to work a strategy, sometimes just to get practice in and film the live practice as well. I'll film a live practice with Ken's strategy. I don't do a lot of, as you know on my show, I don't do a lot of, here's so-and-so's strategy, let's go play it out for, the show and review it. I don't do a lot of that. I can see a show on the Casino Gaming channel where we do some strategy rollouts and some critiques, but that's not my game. My game is more teaching you all how to play, or not how to play, but just different things about the game. So I'm gonna do that as a side thing. I'll do it tonight or tomorrow night, just roll it out and play it. It's an interesting take on math, for sure. The way that Ken martingales up the losses is interesting. It's not a true ladder, it's not a true martingale. There's some interesting thought put behind it, and I want to really break it down and explain it. It almost deserves a whole show for me to explain the math on that thing and how it works out. But when you watch it play, the rhythm of it is actually pretty cool. The rhythm is good, and I think it builds in some interesting profit areas to it too. So I'll play it out. I couldn't break it. I tried to break it last night and I couldn't break it. So I tend to roll a lot of early sevens, and last night, even though I did in my practice session, I didn't break the bank on it. So that's, I guess, good for Ken on that piece of it. Now we'll see how it holds up the test of an hour or two rollout and all of that. So James saying, email my viewers. I don't have email addresses. YouTube doesn't give us that. YouTube just tells me how many people subscribed, and it tells me, what I have is that community tab where I can put a post up that says, hey, we've moved. That's all I got on YouTube. There's no way to contact you from there, unfortunately. If I did the thing where I charged you to be a member, then I could email the members that are paying, but I can't email anybody else. Unfortunately, it's like that. We're down at 18 viewers today. It's okay. I'll put a video out later on today on the ProCraps channel that will kind of highlight, hey, you missed out, with some highlights from this, and we'll start getting people over here. We're gonna have to put up with a little bit of a dip in viewership until we get this thing right again. So I'm not worried about it. We'll be okay. Because the videos will live forever, and I'm gonna move them over there when we're all done. So, all right, let's get into today's talk. We're gonna talk about, again, we're in this series talking about profit locking. And again, the assumption here is that you've already done phase one. So I'm looking at strategies and rolling them out, assuming you've gotten past phase one, which was your entire bankroll doing its job of getting you something to play with kind of house money or profit money. In other words, you've used $500 to win 50 in some way. I'm not saying you put all $500 out there, but you've run some strategy a number of times that has earned whatever you want to play with. Your foundation. Today, I'm going to make my foundation be $44. So we have done something like the skill 66 strategy, or the headless horseman, or some other way to earn us $50 or so. And then we say, well, with that $50, what do I do now to lock up my profit goal? Now, I'm going to show you something on the table today that I haven't really talked enough about, which is that first $50. We want to talk about that first phase one money and what best to do with it and how to view it. But for the sake of today's show, what we're going to do is lock up a bigger profit using only that short stack. So let's say you brought for 500, you've won 50, we're going to play with $50 today. And that's it. We're going to play with 50 over and over again and work a strategy with $50 that I think is one of the stronger plays to lock profit. I love this strategy. It's one of Hawaii Crap Shooter's strategies, the Pineapple Press, that I think is a great phase two short stack attack kind of a strategy. It's a short run, right? You're at foundation. That's all we have available to us. It's a stable strategy for the most part, and it's going to get us to our goal. And I think it's just a fun way to play, and it doesn't require a lot of thinking. So let's take a look at how this strategy works. It's called the Pineapple Press. It's basically a short game strategy. So a lot of folks have done videos on the short game where they basically call it, or I think I've heard it called all-in betting from somebody else. I think Bone Thrower called it all-in betting. And basically you take all your wins and put them back on the table. But when I see people teach the all-in betting system, they just take their winnings and they just drop it around. Put some here, put some there, and make it all whatever. They complicate it. And it's hard for the dealers to follow you. And it's hard for you to know where the hell your money is, right? The Pineapple Press that Brian came up with, to me, is a beautiful little system. It's not complicated. Like, you're going to reinvest your profits 3 times. You're going to, on the first hit, you're going to press up the 6 and the 8 with all of your profits. On the second hit, wherever it happens to be, you're going to press up the 5 and the 9 with all of your profits. The third hit, you're going to press or add, depending, the 4 and the 10 with all of your profits. Fourth hit, regress it back down again. Start back over, maybe at 64 across. And now you can press. That first initial money that goes out there is going to bring you back a good level of profit. Depending on what numbers hit, you'll bring back another 30 or 40 bucks. You'll almost be at your goal just from that initial pressing, which is actually a pretty stout and stable system. I love this system. And besides the fact that it works, it's only a 4-hit thing, which makes it, I don't want to say easy, but easier to get to. I think it's pretty good. The thing I like about it the most is that I can't screw it up, right? You know you're inside, you're outside, and you're out. And it's easy to remember the rhythm when you're in a busy table, when you're shooting. You don't got to think so much. And I think that's what I like about it the most, is that it earns money, but it's also not a head scratcher. And I think we get into these head scratchers sometimes at the tables and make ourselves have an unnecessary problem. So I think with that said, I want us to go to the table and talk about it and roll it out with some actual dice. Let's go to the table, and I'm going to run through, I think I can do it with the KPI tracker today. Let's see if I can't get that to work. We'll try that. There we go. The KPI tracker is engaged. You can see the end of the table, which is good. I tend to sometimes forget to get the end of the table in the shots, as somebody reminded me last week. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to turn that light on back there, and we'll start rolling it out, and we'll talk through. Let's see, get the light turned on. My stream deck is going too, so I should be able to, hopefully, log the numbers here in our roll tracker. Let's see here. Let's get this thing going. Make sure that we're in the right thing there. There's that. All right. Here we go. All right. Let's assume, again, that we've got 44 bucks to play with. And I'm going to run through a couple scenarios with you. First things first, if you've bought in for 500, and let me actually put 500 in the rail so we can see what this looks like from a rack management standpoint. There's 4, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Here's our 500 bucks that we bought in with initially. So I'll put this in here so that we can see, make sure we can see that on the camera. I think you can. All right, there's 500 bucks as a buy. We'll put it right here in front so we can see it. Let's say that you've used that 500 to win this 44. At 500 bucks, your goal at 20%, if you're playing a 20% game, your goal is likely going to be about 100 bucks. So we're halfway there. And I think that that shouldn't be understated, that we're halfway there. And I think we forget this part of it, right? Oh, I did this thing, I made my foundation. I need to earn 100 bucks with my foundation. Your foundation is half of your goal. Don't forget that. This foundation only needs to win 60 bucks to get to goal, or 600 to get to whatever your goal is. This foundation's already halfway home. Don't forget that piece of it. That's an important thing we kind of forget, that we're already kind of here, okay? So when we look at our next phase here, as we build this thing out, you might get to goal faster than you think you are. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna put a separator here and get ready to make goal. And here's the play. We're gonna go 44 inside. Like so, 40, 44 inside. And again, it doesn't matter which number hits first, because all these numbers are gonna pay the same. They're gonna pay 14 bucks. If we take 14 bucks, 10, $14 win, what we do, the pineapple press works from the inside out. We're gonna basically squeeze this thing up. So we're gonna take our first hit and press the 6 and the 8 to 18 each. That's your first hit. They go up, you'll take $2 back on the first hit. On the second hit, we're gonna press up the 5 and the 9. Now again, it matters here which ones hit. If the 6 and 8 happen to hit again, we'll use those as the example because it's easy. That would pay 21 bucks. I'm gonna go 10 bucks on each the 5 and the 9 to make them look like 20 and rack that other penny. That's the second hit. Now here, in this situation, the 5 and 9 at 20 bucks will pay 28. The 6 and 8 will pay 21. It doesn't matter which one pays, frankly. If it's 28 or 21, I really don't care. Let's say it's the worst case, it's the 6 and the 8. It pays 21 more dollars. We'll go and grab the 4 and 10. And to this point, my profit is $4. That's 3 hits. The first hit presses here. The second hit presses here. The third hit presses here. And now I've got an across bet with a teeny bit of profit. And whatever comes next, it doesn't matter which one comes next. Let's say that the 9 came next, and that pays $28 on the 9. Now we come down. You can come down to whatever you want to, but if I came down to 64 and keep this thing as an across bet, we'll go to 64 across. We'll tell our dealer, please make me look like 64 across. And I bring these bets down to where I am here. What we have now in our rack would be this. There would be, that's 5. So 10, 20, 30, and 30 is $64. So in that little bit of pressing, right, 3 hits and down on the 4th hit, we have $64 that can come back to our rack, which happens to be what we also have out here. If you're doing your math at home, 64 plus 64 is 128. That has locked up our $100 goal, essentially with this much in super profit, beyond your regular profit. You've got $28 extra profit, which is really pretty cool. What I would do with this is this. I would lock this up, okay? There's my $64. I'm locking that up. I can even put it down here, but I'll put it in the back, okay? I can now play with 64 across with almost no risk. What I'd like to do here is make sure that I can take another $32 out of here to get myself to my actual goal. But this thing actually got me to goal. If you think about it right now, you're at goal with $28 extra. I'm gonna basically rack half of that and play the rest out. Does that make sense? If this happens to bomb, I've got $64 here that I can put back out and give it one more crack before I go back into my actual bankroll and restart my initial strategy. So to me, this is kind of it's a mental play for me, right? You're gonna go to 44 inside, you're gonna make it look like 64 across. In so doing, you're gonna have $64 in your rack or thereabouts. Again, right now you're at goal. You could walk right now. If you're a 20% player, you're out with 20% plus $28. If you want to try and turn this into a little more, you can be a little bit aggressive. You got half of your profit locked and you're in okay shape. So that's the press. Press here, press here, press here, get out. That's the whole pineapple press. It's so easy to play this thing once you're at goal. And like I said, if you started out with like the skill 66 inside, goes to 88, goes back down to 44, we just do this pineapple press after that, boom, 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 you're at 64 across and you're out on a 6 or 7 roller, which is a good roll. You should be able to make your goal on a 9 roller. If somebody's got 9 rolls before the 7, you should be able to get where we are right here. Get to base, turn base into 64 or so, and get the hell out. That's the idea. So with that said, let's clear the board. I'm gonna reset everything, and we're gonna roll this with actual dice and play this thing out. There's my 44 across. My puck is gonna be off. We'll assume that the shooter before us has made their point, and here we are with our coming out roll. We're gonna be off on the come out. I'm actually gonna step back here today, and again, I'm gonna throw the dice with a little bit of care. I'm not gonna be super diligent about setting and taking a bunch of time, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw them nicely today, and we'll see how we work. I'm working on a knuckleball toss into the hook. And again, on the cork from 10 feet away, this is kind of a hard shot to get these dice to land still, but we have a hard 10 as our point. Here we go. Point's gonna be a hard 10. I think that I can log this in. Let's see if that takes. No, hold on one second. Let me get my screen active here so I can log these rolls with a roll tracker. There we go. All right, first roll's in the books, hard 10. Now, let's get those hits. Can we make it 3 or 4 hits here before the 7? That's the whole thing, is can this pressing strategy get me safe ahead of the 7? Here we go. Way too much action there. It's a 4, so it's no help to us. And boy, you sure hate seeing wasted rolls like that. But the set that I'm using today is the straight 6s set, and that tends to roll a lot of 4s and 10s. The whole point of that set, that was a good throw, is to get 4s and 10s. Okay, we have an 8. 8 will pay $14. And our first hit, again, we're gonna go ahead and press up the insides here. to 18. Take our $2 back to the rack. Hit number 1. Here we go. Dice are set. Dice are out. That was a better shot, actually. 7 out, though, unfortunately. So we didn't get there that time. They left my hands pretty good, though. I'm happy with the throw. All right, so it didn't work. Not the end of the world. Now, again, if you're playing actual craps, this is the time. Because your profit locker didn't lock a damn thing, we go back to our base strategy. Now we go back into our rack here, pull out the next whatever you're going to pull out, work, get to 44 inside. We're going to assume that that happened and we did it. Okay. The whole point of this exercise is to say, how does 44 inside turn into profit? So here we go. Let's get a come out roll here. There's an 8 for the come out. New point's going to be 8. Let's get 4 hits and out. 4 hits if we can do it, and we'll get out of here with our profit. Oh my God, 527. Look at that. Right away, 527. All right, we'll reset the board. We'll wave our magic wand and go again. Here we go. Wow, ugly throw. 6, or it's an 8 rather, a 5, 3, 8. Here we go, straight 6s into the hook. Better throw. They actually stayed up that time, which is interesting. Midnight. Waylon is singing in the background. Dice are set. There's an 8. That's the point being hit. That's actually not too bad. Again, that pays 14. I didn't clear our profits from the last run, by the way. $14. We'll take 2 change. We'll go to 18 on both the 6 and the 8. We'll come out to a new point. I'm just going to randomly get a new point here. Good. That's a 4. All right, so we're on hit number 1. The insides have been hit. Let's get past roll 2 for the first time today, if we can. Let's be a shooter here. There's an 8. That pays 21. We're going to grab the 5 and the 9 to 20. $3 in the rack. Okay, dice are out. Another 8. That's 3 8s in a row. Wow. So 18 pays 21 again. We're going to grab the 4 and the 10. We have $4 in the rack, and we need to make one more shot here to get collected, and we'll be okay. I'm not sure you guys can hear the table here, but I always talk about my table, how I've got this thing set up. And again, I'm about 10 feet away. There's a 325. That's going to pay 28. And again, we're going to reduce back down to 64 across here. And all this can come back to the rack. Not bad. Okay, between all that, if I actually colored this up for visuals, there's a 5. There's a quarter. We're at 50, 64, which is what we just started with. Okay, so we've actually increased our lockup. We went from 44 to 64. We have $20 extra saved in the bank here, plus 64 in action. I could pull it all down right now and go home. Or I could play my 64 across out and now start moving into a more aggressive stance, the way that I would play this out. So now is when I would get a little more aggressive. I want to lock up, if I can, a few more bucks. There's a 10, a 6, 4, 10. That'll pay $18. What I'll probably do here is increase the 10 and the 4 both by a unit and take 8 back to the rack. And again, I'm trying to get to 100 in here. So my goal here is to lock this thing into $100. I'll do a single press as we go. Now that I know that I'm in good shape, we'll press up 1 unit at a time here on all these numbers. I hit the wall. 415. That'll pay 15 for one. I'm going to press the 5 and the 9 both. Work my way back in here from the outside. And again, be aware of what's in your rack. I can't say enough how important it is to know where you stand. There's a 6, 4, 10 at the $15 level. That's great. That'll pay 27 bucks. Okay, 27 bucks. Now, if I look at my rack right at this moment, there's 64. If I were to do this, I'll put my quarter in here. That's 75. There's 5 or 4 reds. There's a nickel worth of whites, and I've got in my rack $100 in profit. This is my lock, right? From 44 to 64 to locking up my day's profit, I'm good. No matter what happens here, I'm free to go home with the profit. And that's what I mean by locking profit, right? I didn't work very hard for it. We only made about 6 or 7 shots there. And on a decent sized roll, and again, you look at some of the videos we see from the Hawaii crapshooters, Mar and those guys, they're rolling 9, 10 all the time. This is what you're looking for to lock in a simple profit on a 9 shot. That's the idea. Get to 44, get to 64, lock something up, and now I've got what you would call your excess. What I'm playing with here is true excess winnings. This is my lock. This was my goal, my $100. This is excess. Now we just play this thing out until 7, or if you're going to be smart about it, take this all back, right? And you got to remember, what you have out there sometimes is as important as what's in your rack. There's 75, 80 for extra dollars. If I were to walk out of here right now, my profit is 184 plus these whites here. So about 190. So double the profit I should have had. I'm looking for 100. I got 190 in there. That ain't bad. And if you're playing at beyond the $10 level, if you're playing this thing starting at 15 or starting at 160 across, let's say you want to play 110 inside as your base, the amount of wins that we got here, that's going to amount to $200 or $300. That's not bad. That's not bad at all for not a whole lot of work. Okay, let's set it back up again. I'm glad that it worked out for us once to see the thing happen with my throwing. Important to get this thing played out. Here we go. Let's reset everything. We're going to go back out with a fresh 44. We'll play it out one more time, maybe twice. We'll see. 44 inside. The puck is off. We're going to randomly roll for a point. That point will be an 8. And now we're going to roll legit and try and get ourselves pressed up again. Can the pineapple press work more than one time? Can John roll some numbers? There's a 10. It does nothing for us. We're not on the 10 right here. Straight 6s to the corner. Better throw that time. There's an 11. 6-5 yo. Again, does nothing for me because we're not on the field. We're not playing the Iron Cross. We may have played the Iron Cross to get ourselves here, but we're here now. We need those inside numbers to hit. That was a better throw. It's a 5-4-9. That's great. It pays 14. And as before, we'll take that 14 and we'll press up the 6 and the 8 to 18. We'll rack our 2 whites. That's hit number 1. Unfortunately, it took us 2 rolls to get to hit number 1, which, you know, if you're worried about that sort of thing, you're getting closer and closer to big red. There's a 1, 2, 3 shocker. Does no good. Here we go. Dice are out. That was a pretty good throw. 5, 3, 8. That's the point. But that also pays 21 bucks. That's hit number 2. 5 and 9 get pressed to 20. We'll rack a white. The puck being off. We're safe here on this next roll. Midnight. A 6 is the new point. And here we go. We've had 2 hits. We need one more hit to get to the outside, and then one more hit to go home. Here we go. Dice are out. That's the 7. That's a bummer. That's a bummer. We didn't get there this time. So 3 times we didn't quite get there. 1 time we got there and did a pretty good job with it. Let's go ahead and reset again. It's funny, isn't it? It seems easy, right? We say all the time, all you need is 3 hits. That's not easy to get. We talk all the time about how hard it is to roll numbers repeatedly, and the chances of getting 2 hits up in here on the same number is really hard. And as you watch in the mornings here, again, I'm not any kind of a skilled dice influencer by any means, but I throw okay. And this toss that I'm doing here, that's a good one. I'm working through it, but it's hard. It's really hard to beat the 6 roll threshold. Keep at it though, won't we? There we go. Let's get this thing to just die in the corner there. Much better. 1, 2, 3 again. But I'm getting that landing spot kind of figured out. We'll see. If I can't keep repeating that, it feels like I'm kind of on point. Let's see. A little short. That's a 10. That's our point, actually. Let's randomly get it out there. That'll be a 4 for the next point. Here we go. Can the press make it happen? Here we go. Better. Again, 1, 2, 3. A lot of wasted rolls here. A lot of wasted, non-productive, ugly-ass rolls. Not a huge fan of that. Here we go. There's a 5, 4, 9. That pays 14. Again, we'll press up our 6 and 8. Five, 4, 9. That's 1 hit on the inside. Oh, I think I need to get rid of the other profit from last time. All right, here we go. Let's get her again. 4, 3, 7. Those dice hit as they landed. So another time. That's like, okay, I'm not doing the strategy justice, Brian. I'm so sorry. That's 4 times out of 5 that we've only gotten 1 hit or 0 hits. So blame it on the roller if you want to. The strategy itself, I believe, is pretty sound though. There's a 5. Here we go. One, two, three. Boy, I'm telling you what, this set into the corner here is just a horn machine. Isn't it? Isn't it crazy? There's a 4. Again, no help to us here. But I'm as much practicing this release as anything else. There's a 6, a 5, 1, 6. There's our 14 bucks. Let's go to 18 with it. All right. Let's get to goal here, shall we? Let's get to goal. Six, 2, 8. That's great. That pays 21. Let's hit number 2. We'll get the 5 and the 9. 6, 2, 8. And here we go. That was way short. That's a 1, 3, 4. Way short toss there. Kind of slipped a little bit. Okay, here we go. Another 4. That was a better throw, though. I'll take it. It's kind of a long roll going here, but we're not productive with it. This is one of those rolls that you're getting. I've said this before. I think when you get a long roll, but they're not paying, what's the point of having a long roll? There's another 4. It's like 3 4s that we've hit, and a shocker and a midnight on this roll, and I'm not getting paid on any of it. I'm avoiding the 7, great, but I'm not seeing any benefit from it at all. Let's go. Get something inside. There's an 8. That's great. All right. 8 pays 21. We can grab the 10 and the 4, and let's get a money shot here, shall we? We did the hard work of battling all those non-productive rolls. Now we're across 6, 3, 9. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, that's gonna pay 28 bucks. And again, 28 there. We're gonna reduce everything down to 64. And what do we have to show for it? 25, 50. This case, we have 60 bucks. A little less than last time because of the numbers that we hit. I'll take that every single time. So we have it before, 64 bucks. That's good, right? That's not a bad outcome. 64 bucks towards the next roll. So 2 out of 6 times we did it. And again, it's just me rolling the way that I'm rolling. So I'm not gonna judge the strategy based on how John rolls. We can't do that for sure. But, excuse me, I like this play so much that when I get to 44 inside, somebody asked on Jeff's show last night, how do you play at the casino? When I'm playing the right side and my goal is 44 or 66, whatever it is on the inside, this is how I play every single time. I'm 100% doing the inside out pineapple press when I'm on these numbers. To me, it scopes it to an exact thing. I need exactly 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. 4 hits and I'm out. 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 hits, go home. It's such an easy system to remember. It's so easy to know where your money goes. And it's easy to know when you're out. You cannot get stuck in this system with press, press, press. When do I come down? It's baked in. Hit, 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 down. Done. I really love that part about it. And if I did take all of this down, again, I would be over my 20% goal. This would bring me over goal. That right there is 130 bucks. My goal was 100. So if you can make this thing stick, if you can get your 4 rolls and get out of there, you're gonna be at your goal every single time if your goal is 20% like this. So I think this is a beautiful strategy. It's one of Brian's earlier ones, and it's one that, you know, his newer stuff, the HP 120, the Easy, and all these other ones get all the headlines for the Hawaii crap shooters. This is his best. Honest to God, this is my favorite way to press these numbers because it makes so much sense. And it's so easy to execute. You just got to get 4, right? I love the simplicity of it. So from all the things that Brian does over there, I think, to me, this is the one. This is the one that I enjoy playing the most. So that's where I am there. So anyway, I cannot roll worse than normal. You know, here's the thing, guys. I joke about how I roll. Ken gave me a bunch of grief last night about how bad I roll. I roll normal. When I'm rolling, even when I'm trying hard, like today, right? I'm working on my shot. I had 2 rolls that were about 10, 12. I had 3 rolls that were garbage, that were 1 or 2. Those 1 or 2 rollers are what you see most of the time. I say it all the time. 28% of the time, it's a 0.7 out. Another 15% of the time, it's point number 7 out. That 1 and 2 length roll happens all the freaking time. That's where the Headless Horseman was built from, to get that, right? I use the Horseman to survive those short rolls, and the Horseman, when it works, wins me about 50 bucks on one shooter. So I play the Horseman, I win my 50 bucks because you'll get a point into the come, 7 out, that's 50 bucks. I'm right into this strategy over here. That supports this strategy almost every time. To me, that is normal. When I see 4 rolls go like shit and 2 rolls go pretty good, that's a craps table. That exactly simulates what you see at a real live craps table. So I'm glad that it rolls out this way so that you can see the ebbs and flows of that. But really, it's ugly, ugly, ugly mid-length roll. Ugly, ugly, ugly mid-length roll. 4 uglies and a 25 roller. That's the way you normally see this. So I will play this on everybody. If I get to 44, and if I can get my base strategy to work, in other words, if I'm playing the Horseman or whatever I'm playing, and I get to 44 inside, this is what I play. If I'm playing pure dark side, so a lot of times if the table's kind of south, like we talked about last night. If I sense that there's two don't passes in a row and I start moving towards the dark side, I will not be in this strategy. When I start sensing it going dark, I'll start playing the horseman, but I'll move my winnings onto odds, or I'll move my winnings into the don't come, and I won't play this. But if the table is rolling numbers and I switch to the inside, that's how I play the inside always. So the PSO is actually not this. And old number 7, the way that you've seen the way I calculate this, right? I've rolled 1,000,000 rolls, and the 7 does have a 16% chance of rolling on any one roll. What we see though over the course of 1,000,000 rolls is that from the time the shooter starts with the dice in their hand and they roll, make a number and make a 7, that 7 lands in that spot 28% of the time. For whatever reason, whether it's the 5th roll, the 2nd roll, or the 10th roll of their shot, after the point's been established, that seems to be a pretty hot spot. It's over a quarter of the time you lose out on that roll. The odds of rolling it are the same every single time. Just the probability seems to land at 28%. So that's a big, to me, it's a big eye opener. And I've repeated that trial so many times. I just know the numbers are true. And it actually gets worse as you go. So you can get into 45% of the time, you don't get past roll 2. And again, it's not about the 7 coming that fast. It's just about the rhythm of the shots, and that's just where it leads to be. So, hey, Doris, so we got 33 people watching. That's good. People figured it out where we are now, which is great. Let me just put that back up here again, just so we all know. We are on Casino Gaming TV for the first time, solo ever, and we still got 30-something people here. That's good. Folks are starting to figure out where we live now, which is a good thing. So, what else do we have to talk about? We have to talk about, not the goat, we're going to talk about the pineapple. I see some Hawaiians here. Unco's here. Yeah, and Kevin's here. Tell Brian, I'm not sure if Brian made it in today, but tell Brian we ran his strategy today. And still one of my all-time favorites. I just love the simplicity of that thing. It's so good. All right, what else do we have? On the average, what I see is 4 point outs an hour, which I think that sounds about right. I mean, if you're going to get in an hour, Coffee Land, hey, here we go, coffee and craps mug today. If you're going to get about 40 rolls, 50 rolls an hour, depends on your table, right? 50 rolls an hour is about right. If you divide that by what are you saying? By 4 here, 4 point outs an hour. You're saying you're getting about 12 shots before a 7 out happens. That's probably okay. I mean, if you think about that from a number standpoint, 50 rolls an hour. That would be probably maybe 8 shooters. Each shooter is going to get 6 to 8 shots. That's about the average, right? 8.5 or so is the average. And the 8.5 average per shooter, again, and includes the come out phase, the point being set, and the 7 or point being hit. All of that's part of your 8.5 rolls. The real average is 4.5. So, all right. I think it's time to get to work. So that was a good session today, actually. I'm glad we lost 4 times. I'm glad I won 2 times. And you got a chance to see that thing in action. It's actually pretty cool. So cool. Thanks for Brian for putting that out there. Thanks to you all for being here on the new channel. I really appreciate it. Again, Casino Gaming TV is the new home for Coffee and Craps. And I'm John from the Pro Craps channel. Subscribe to both channels and share the wealth. Tell everybody about what we're doing here. So with that said, I'm out. I'll see you tomorrow. God bless everybody.